Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna wait for a few people to show up before I start. I've got a delicious cup of coffee. I hope you do too. So if anyone wants to listen in on the music that I am currently listening to, I'm listening to the Mo station on Slacker Radio. I'm trying to find all the pens that I used yesterday. Of course, I've moved them around a bit, so they are not quite exactly where I left them. Actually, I didn't move them around, I just put them away. Maybe we'll test with a few more. And what did I do with my pencil? Ah, there it is. So this is the pencil that I was using yesterday. It's gotten short enough that I need a different pencil holder. This is a Stad One Touch, and its logo is very worn off. It's one of my favorite pencil holders. The little rubbery grip is one I added to it. I've got several of them. They're very hard to find now. All right. So this I just did a audit or inventory, if you will, of my notebooks. If you're looking for any notebooks, I inventoried them. All of my Etsy stuff is updated. I also added some 5-packs on Etsy, as well as lined and unlined notebooks, which I hadn't had before. They're all listed in separate listings, so you can find some of those. So yesterday I tested, let me grab it out of the drawer here, tested this this free stencil, which is made for printers, and it was suggested to me that a better use of this is not to use it as I was using it, but to take like a marker. Do I have a good one? I think this one will show up. This is a Stabilo Pen 68. So the suggestion was that maybe if you use a marker, it would be a little easier. And maybe that instead of you would swipe through. And actually, the marker does work pretty good. Of course, now I'm crapping up my marker because I used ink on it. So yeah, I guess there is some merit to what they had to say, that using a marker inside of here, although it's a little too thick to actually use the marker by swiping it over the top of the stencil. So maybe a thicker marker tip would work better. I don't know, but it's not how I want to use a stencil. So that was very disappointing. And so I did some research because I was planning on just going ahead and ordering one of those 20 packs of stencils on Amazon. They also have like 40 packs and all kinds of like massive packages of stencils. But they're the exact same thing. They're sold as super thin and 4x7. This is not 4x7. This is 3x6.5. So about 3x6.5. They're sold for travel journals, and bullet journals, people using a like Leuchtturm book for bullet journaling, and they're made so that you can keep them in the back pocket of your bullet journal, so that you always have all of your shapes on hand all the time. So then I got to thinking, like, what did I like about that? What didn't I like about that? And so I started making. I got my Provo crap cut out, and started messing around with Make the Cut, which don't. Okay, so I have an old crap cut, and it has been. It's the machine itself is not hacked. I also have an old version of Make the Cut that allows me to use it with my crap cut. Please do not at me asking me to hack your Cricut. You can no longer hack your Cricut machines or hack Make the Cut to work with your crap cut. It just okay, so for anyone who's listening who's never heard me rant about ProvoCraft and the Cricut machine, I call ProvoCraft Provo Crap, and I call the Cricut machine the Crap Cut. I love the machine. It works great. If I had to do it over again, I would get a different machine, but this was a gift from my mom because she liked watching me make stuff with hers. So don't get a crap cut. Don't support Provo Crap. I know that they now have some software you can use on the computer, but they're a horrible company, and that is my opinion, so don't sue me. But please don't at me asking, how do I hack my Cricut? The answer that I will send you is, you can't, and please go read my blog post about the crap cut. So anyway, so I got my crap cut out, and I thought about what shapes would I want to use, and I just started playing. So let me show you the first one I made. I think this is one of the first. So I thought, well, I want some lines, because ultimately what I want to do is I want to use this in conjunction with my undated or my dateless Baron Fig planner that I use to track my writing. So the dateless Baron Fig planner looks like this. A couple of other covers. I don't know what I did with my blue one. I think I gave it to my wife. So there are a couple of different covers. If you look inside them, they're not dated. They're just blank pages with some dot grid in the back for planning. Some blank pages for idea mapping and things. These are great, but they don't have any lines or dot grids on the actual pages. So what I really wanted to do is figure out what shapes would I use to add lines and stuff to my Baron Fig dateless. So we'll get to that in a minute. I'll also talk a little bit about how I use that. So I started playing around with shapes. Actually, I think this is one of the later. So this is one of the later ones. So I just started loading shapes into a size that is 3 by 5. So these are 3 by 5 cards. They're a little bigger. I think it's 3 1/4 and by 5 1/4. A little bigger than a actual 3 by 5 card, but they're about 3. They're big enough, or I should say small enough, that they'll fit inside a pocket notebook. They'll fit inside. So here's my new pocket notebook that I started using after I wrecked mine. So I designed them so they would fit inside the back of one of these notebooks and stay there. Or that you could bundle them together like so and then stick them inside a fodder stack. This is a leather fodder stack. Brad sent it to me from Knock. But the idea behind them was, if you're going to be using your bullet journal or your notebook on the go, then you're going to want to have these with you. So anyway, I just started looking at different shapes, different shapes that I might use, and I had these signs from my old job. I did take the logos off, but these were signs for a Thanksgiving food ordering. They're plastic laminated cardstock, so it's plastic on each side, cardstock in the middle. They're much thicker. You'll notice that they are still flexible, but even singly, they are not as flexible as those other stencils, the little thin ones. So they're a little thicker, a little stiffer. So let me show you how they work. So let me show you with pencil first. And I'm just using some crap paper. So here are the lines because that was one of the things I really wanted to make sure that I had for my Baron Fig planner. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see that on that paper with that. Let me use something a little darker. Use the Ink Joy. So you notice that I don't have to stabilize these nearly as much as that thin, flexible PVC. So you can see the lines are there. So then I can, let's say I want to put a little arrow. I can get the triangles there. And, you know, they're not quite on where they want to be yet. But, so then, because this stock is stiffer, I'm actually able to use them with one hand. I can go over things multiple times. And I don't know. I think this works better for me for how I would use a stencil. I don't know about other people, but they're very simple. So, you know, I ended up screwing up that one. But, so the stiffer stock works better. So then I started thinking about what shapes would I want on these. So I started doing some silly stuff like, oh, here's a thought bubble. Maybe I would use a thought bubble. I don't know. I do like the hexagon shapes for highlighting things. I added an arrow. So basically I just started playing around with the different shapes that I could do. And yeah, so I just, again, I just started putting shapes together. Apparently I really like that big arrow. I liked, there's this little like diamondy shape that I thought I might actually use. I do like the diamonds. I think that would be useful for highlighting things in my journal. So anyway, so I just started, like I said, I started playing with shapes, and it does take a while. I have to cut twice on the crap cut for it to get through this stock at the hardest setting. I had to put it on maximum pressure and cut twice through it. But my blade was also dull. And then I also, you know, did a range of some different hexagon shapes, and you'll notice that the smaller the shape, the like the Cricut just can't do it. It kind of slides off a little bit, and that's not because of something going wrong with the stock. It's the Cricut machine has a lot of trouble with teeny tiny shapes. So little teeny shapes. So it won't do a true circle. So this shape is supposed to be a circle, not an, actually that's supposed to be a hexagon, but it looks like an oval. These are supposed to be circles, but they're ovals, and that's just something that the crap cut does. I don't know why the crap cut does that. So then I also did, I'm gonna fresh sheet of junk paper. I tried some larger shapes. So I like this arrow shape for some reason. And then a big square because, you know, of course, sometimes you're going to need a big square. And I know that's not how those are used, but they're usually just like that. So anyway, so I found that this stock works better for me. It's a little stiffer, a little easier to use. And then I decided to boil it down to the stuff that I like and that what I would actually use in my bullet journal or my planner. So I ended up being pretty basic with it because I know, you know, I'll make all of these. I have these if I want to use them. What I really want is something very basic. Something very simple. So this is what I ended up with. It's a series of 6 circles, 6 diamonds, 6 hexagons, 6 little dots, 6 slightly larger dots, 6 of the little curved diamonds, 6 lines, 6 triangles. You notice I did use 6 a lot because that's what just seems to work. A star, a large hexagon, an arrow, and the little parentheses things. Um, Basically just because that's what I will probably end up using in my bullet journal. So let me show you. Makes a Cut did end up crashing on me once, and I had worked things out so that everything perfectly lined up with my lines. Now the thing that does make this a little harder to use than that very thin stencil that I tested yesterday is that it's not clear. So you kind of have to figure out where you're going to be and how you want things to line up. So there we go. So you'll notice that this is set so it's going to line up with these lines. And then the same thing with these circles. I kind of designed it so that the circles and everything would be about in the middle of these lines. Oop, I got it off a little bit. Let me see these diamonds. See how that works? So you do the lines, or you could do, I suppose you could do it any way you want. You could do the shapes first. And then figure out where the lines need to be. And then line it off. Anyway, possibilities are kind of endless with this thing. And then these are set so that you can do this and then do something like that. So basically, I set it up so that it would be most useful for me. So then maybe I want to highlight that there. For anyone who hasn't tried these out, the Staples Quick Dry Gel are actually really kind of nice gel pens. They are very thick. You're not going to get a super fine line. But, so then you can actually color in with some of these shapes. And maybe I want to draw attention to something in particular. So I could just do that. So there you go. That's my little stencil. I don't know if I'm going to sell them on Etsy or if they're going to be an extra. Actually, how about for right now, if you're watching this video, see, today is October 21st. I've made 10 of them. The next 10 people who order from my Etsy shop will get one of these thrown into their order. Any size order. You order one set of notebooks. You order a large set of notebook allies, the mullet set. Whatever you order, I'll throw one of these in for free. And so I've got 10 of them. I'll figure out if I'm going to sell them on Etsy or not. I think I'd probably sell them for about $2 each because they are a giant pain in the butt to make. They take a lot of, actually, I was surprised at how much work they are for the crack cut. The crack cut it just has a lot of trouble cutting them, and it takes forever. And then I have to take every one of these little dots out. So anyway, so they'd probably be about $2 each. And they are very sturdy. If you have any questions about the stencils, feel free to ask them. I'll try and answer. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. Oh, I meant to tell you, I was going to tell you how I use them in my Baron Fig. So what I do in my Baron Fig is I track my writing. So I track my time and then the number of words, and then at the end of the week, how many words I did, how many days I wrote. Right now I'm in the middle of edits and outlining for NaNoWriMo, so things are a little different in how I track. So basically right now, for the next couple of weeks until NaNoWriMo, what I'll be doing is just tracking that I'm working for 25 minutes on my edits and outline. But what I want to do is basically add lines and little dots to this. So you can see what I've done. And the idea is that basically right now I'm just testing out what I like, sort of like I just did here. Like, like obviously I'm going to highlight the 25 minutes, so I might go through with my pen and highlight the 25 minutes. But I showed you one of the blank versions. So here's the summer version, and I went through and I stamped the month, day, and specific date, and then day of the week. Pretty basic. And then basically I've just gone through, I've added lines to a bunch of pages. So let me show you how I did that. So with this, you're not going to be able to see the ruling from the Baron Fig. What I did was I lined up. I want 3 lines in there, so I lined one of these lines with the actual Baron Fig line. I guess I'll use the red pen since I got out. And I'm just doing 3 lines. So there you go. 3 lines in my Baron Fig. And then basically I'm just going to repeat that. So with this, I'm lining it up in the center and then along that ruling. And you can see that it ends up being very straight and even if that's something that's important to you. So then down on this last one, I'm going to line it up there. So check that out. So I haven't added any dots to that yet, but I will. I don't know. I'm ridiculously happy with how these turned out. I wasn't, I was just sort of, actually, I was avoiding cleaning my desk since that's one of the tasks since you guys probably saw that yesterday in my video. One of my tasks for today was to clean my desk, and making these was better than cleaning my desk, if I'm going to be totally honest. All right, so I think I just want to do diamonds. I like the diamond shape. So basically I'm just going to line the bottom up. And there we go. I mean, if you're bullet journaling anyway, this just seems to make sense. And yeah, and some of them it's going to go over the rubber stamp for the day. I wasn't neurotic about my rubber stamping when I stamped these. So I could probably just, for my own use, just create lines and then diamonds, since I seem to be particularly drawn to those for some reason, maybe just today. I might be drawn to another shape tomorrow. But you notice how I don't have to stabilize this as much as I do or did with the thin flexible version. So that works better for me already. So for NaNoWriMo purposes, you have daily word count. Oh, I missed one. You have daily word count goals And I'm probably going to be tracking that in my Baron Fig date list. So I think, so then over here, I do my word count and how many days I worked. So I'm going to do a little arrow. And my goal is to work 7 days a week. And then I want my word count in a star. So I'm just going to do 3 stars. I'm going to be doing 1,667 words or so a day. All right. So that is how I use my stencil to set up my Baron Fig date lists. And obviously I'm experimenting with different shapes throughout. And I've gotten better as I've used it. As you can see, I'm kind of off with this one. So over time, I've gotten a little better with it. I have been testing out different shapes as well, and it did get better. So this is the final version of it. And yeah, anyone who does an Etsy order, I'll send you one for free. Oh yeah, if you want to find my Etsy shop, it's Comfortable Shoes, and I'll put a link down in the show notes somewhere. All right, so there you go. Go make your own stencils if you have a crap cut or some other machine that can cut stencils. It's much better. It just works so much better. And you can make your own shapes that you like. And they do, I mean, it's just so much cleaner than the thin little stencils you can order. So, okay, thanks for watching. Bye.